Jax's revenge domain. The call came through at 11:30 p.m. on a Friday night while I was shoulder deep in server racks at Manhattan Trust Bank, trying to stop a coordinated cyber attack that had already breached 3 of our biggest financial clients. My phone buzzed against my belt. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. I pulled off my work gloves and checked the screen. Howard Bennett, my direct supervisor at Secure Core Systems, calling from his home in Westchester at what should be family dinner time. I almost didn't answer. When you're managing a security breach that's costing $75,000 per hour across 3 major banks, phone calls from corporate feel less urgent than the blinking alert monitors in front of you. But I answered anyway because that's what 24 years of being a reliable crisis manager conditions you to do. Rodriguez speaking. Carl, it's Howard. I need to inform you of a company decision. Effective immediately, we no longer require your services as Senior Systems Security Architect. Your employment is terminated as of today. I looked at the server console in front of me. Alert code SEC_breach_active still flashing red. Database intrusion attempts showing 847 failed login attempts in the last 10 minutes. 3 separate banking systems completely locked down due to our emergency protocols. Patricia Williams, Manhattan Trust's operations manager, standing 8 feet away, looking at me with desperate hope because I was literally the only person who understood these legacy COBOL banking protocols well enough to trace intrusion patterns this sophisticated. I understand, I said, keeping my voice level. I'll inform Patricia that you'll be handling the breach response procedures for the crisis I'm currently managing. Silence long enough that I thought the call might have dropped. What crisis? The coordinated cyber attack that brought me to Manhattan at 6 p.m. yesterday. 3 banks are in full lockdown. The breach is costing approximately $75,000 per hour in frozen transactions and compliance violations. I'm in the middle of tracing the intrusion through 20-year-old mainframe protocols. I assume you'll want to send someone else to complete the trace work since I no longer work for Secure Core. More silence. I could hear him breathing. Carl, let's discuss this after you've resolved the Manhattan situation. I don't think that's appropriate. You just terminated my employment. I shouldn't be working on Secure Core projects if I'm no longer a Secure Core employee. I'll brief Patricia on what I've discovered so far and catch the next train back to Jersey. Or actually not back to the office since you said not to bother returning. Wait, Carl, let me call you back. He ended the call before I could respond. My name is Carl Rodriguez. I'm 49 years old and I just got fired while managing a cybersecurity crisis that nobody else at my company knows how to solve. At 49, I thought I had maybe 15 good working years left before thinking about retirement. I thought I'd built enough reputation and expertise to coast into my golden years with respect and security. That phone call changed everything. Before I explain what happened over the next 72 hours, let me establish who I am and why that phone call was the most expensive mistake Howard Bennett ever made. I joined Secure Core Systems in 2000 as a network security engineer specializing in legacy financial systems. Back then, Y2K was fresh in everyone's memory, and companies were just starting to realize that their old computer systems weren't going anywhere. Secure Core provided cybersecurity consulting for major banks, insurance companies, and government agencies that still ran critical operations on mainframe computers built in the 1980s and 1990s. My role was troubleshooting complex security breaches in systems that younger engineers didn't understand and couldn't fix. When a bank got hacked and their IT department couldn't trace the intrusion, they called Secure Core. Secure Core sent me. Over 24 years, I'd responded to 280 security emergencies across 12 states. I'd traced SQL injection attacks, diagnosed privilege escalation exploits, identified zero-day vulnerabilities, and stopped data exfiltration attempts that could have cost clients hundreds of millions in regulatory fines and lost customer trust. I'd worked through hurricanes, holidays, and family vacations. I'd missed my daughter's high school graduation to fix a breach at a credit union in Philadelphia. I'd spent my 45th birthday in a server room in Boston, debugging COBOL code while my wife celebrated alone at home. That was the old way of doing business. When you gave a company your word, you kept it. When they had a crisis, you showed up. Loyalty was a two-way street, or at least I thought it was. Most importantly, I developed deep expertise in COBOL banking protocols that most of the financial industry still runs on, but nobody teaches anymore. Every major bank had unique implementations. Every system had custom modifications. Every security model had quirks that existed only in my experience-based understanding of how those systems behaved under attack. That knowledge was what made me valuable. That knowledge was also what Howard Bennett had just eliminated from SecureCore's crisis response capability at the worst possible moment. The Manhattan crisis had started 29 hours earlier. First National, Manhattan Trust, and Brooklyn Savings had all called SecureCore's emergency hotline within 45 minutes of each other, reporting sophisticated intrusion attempts targeting their wire transfer systems. All three banks used similar legacy mainframe architectures. All three were experiencing identical attack patterns. This was the kind of coordinated attack that kept security professionals awake at night. Someone with serious resources and deep technical knowledge was systematically probing the backbone of New York's financial infrastructure. SecureCore's standard protocol was remote diagnostics first. I spent 4 hours on secure video calls with each bank's security teams, walking them through trace procedures and reviewing intrusion logs. By 10 p.m. Thursday, I determined this wasn't something that could be resolved remotely. The attack pattern suggested someone with deep knowledge of COBOL banking protocols was systematically probing for vulnerabilities in 20-year-old code that most people assumed was too obsolete to be worth attacking. They were wrong. Old code isn't automatically secure code, it's just code that nobody remembers how to fix when it breaks. I took the train into Manhattan Friday morning, arriving at First National at 8 a.m. Patricia Williams met me at the security entrance. She looked like she hadn't slept in 2 days, which she probably hadn't. "Mr. Rodriguez, thank you for coming. We've been locked down for 22 hours. Federal regulators are asking why we can't secure our systems ourselves. Because this attack pattern is targeting vulnerabilities that require hands-on mainframe access to properly trace. I need to examine the COBOL transaction logs directly." She led me to the secure data center. 3 floors of humming mainframe computers, each one processing thousands of banking transactions per minute when they weren't locked down due to security breaches. All silent now, all offline, all costing First National approximately $25,000 per hour in frozen wire transfers. This was the kind of place that reminded me why I got into this business. These weren't just computers. They were the backbone of the American financial system. Every transaction, every mortgage payment, every payroll deposit, it all flowed through systems like these. And when they went down, real people suffered. Small businesses couldn't make payroll, families couldn't access their savings. Retirees couldn't get their Social Security deposits. I spent the next 8 hours tracing the attack through system logs, identifying the exact COBOL subroutines the hackers were targeting, and mapping their intrusion methodology. This wasn't some script kiddie trying to steal credit card numbers. This was sophisticated, methodical, and expensive. Someone had invested serious money in understanding exactly how these old systems worked and where their weak points were. By 4 p.m., I'd moved to Manhattan Trust, then Brooklyn Savings, finding identical attack patterns across all 3 institutions. The hackers weren't just hitting random banks. They were specifically targeting institutions that still used the legacy COBOL protocols I'd helped design back in the late 1990s. By 10 p.m. Friday, I'd isolated the vulnerability. The hackers were exploiting a buffer overflow in legacy COBOL code that handled international wire transfer authorization. The vulnerability existed in custom banking software that SecureCore had helped implement in 1998. I was part of the original development team. I was one of only 2 people who understood how that authorization code worked. It's funny how technology works. We built these systems to last forever, and they did. But forever in computer terms means dealing with problems nobody anticipated 25 years later. The code we wrote in 1998 was rock solid for its time. We never imagined that hackers in 2024 would have the computing power and patience to probe for buffer overflows in COBOL subroutines that processed maybe 1,000 transactions per day back then, but now handled 100,000. Fixing it required patching 26-year-old COBOL modules, updating mainframe security protocols, and implementing new input validation routines that would prevent similar attacks without breaking the bank's existing transaction processing systems. This wasn't like updating your iPhone. You couldn't just download a patch and restart. Every change had to be tested, validated, and implemented with surgical precision. One mistake and you could freeze the entire banking system for days. I estimated 12 to 16 hours of careful programming work across all 3 institutions. It was the kind of work that required not just technical knowledge, but institutional memory. You had to understand not just how the code worked, but why it was written that way, what assumptions the original programmers made, and how those assumptions had changed over 2.5 decades. I started at 10:30 p.m. Friday night. By 3 p.m., I was halfway through updating the first set of COBOL modules when Howard called and told me I was fired. After Howard hung up, Patricia approached me cautiously. You could see the panic starting to set in as she processed what she'd just overheard. "Mr. Rodriguez, is everything all right? You look concerned. I just got terminated by my employer while in the middle of securing your banking systems." Her expression went from concerned to horrified. In her world, banks didn't just close for the weekend. Every hour these systems stayed down was costing her institution money and reputation it couldn't afford to lose. Terminated? But you're the only person who understands our legacy protocols. What happens to our systems? That's an excellent question. Secure Core will need to send someone else to complete the work. How long will that take? The other engineer who understands these COBOL protocols is Alan Foster. He's in Denver managing a government contract. Secure Core might have to wait until he becomes available. How long? Alan's federal engagement is scheduled for another 10 days, plus travel time. Patricia's face went white. I could see her doing the math in her head. We can't wait 10 days. Every day offline costs us $600,000 in frozen transactions plus federal compliance penalties. 10 days would be over $6 million in losses. Then I suggest you contact Secure Core Corporate and explain the urgency. At 12:45 a.m., my phone rang again. This time it was Gerald Thompson, Secure Core's chief operating officer. Gerald had been with the company for 18 years and understood exactly how critical my role was to financial crisis management. He was also smart enough to realize that Howard had just made a catastrophic error in judgment. "Carl, I just got off the phone with Howard. There's been a misunderstanding about your employment status. We need you to complete the Manhattan engagement before we discuss any personnel matters." Gerald, Howard was very clear. He said my employment was terminated effective immediately. That's not a misunderstanding. That's termination. I could hear the desperation creeping into his voice. Gerald understood the implications in a way that Howard obviously didn't. This wasn't just about one disgruntled employee. This was about Secure Core's entire reputation in the financial services industry. I understand this is confusing, but let's focus on resolving the banking crisis first. We can address your employment situation after you've secured the systems. I don't think that's appropriate. If I'm terminated, I shouldn't be working on Secure Core projects. If I'm not terminated, then Howard needs to call me back and clarify that he made an error. This is a critical client situation. These banks are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour. We need you to complete the security patches. Then you need to clarify my employment status first. Am I a Secure Core employee or not? Long pause. I could hear Gerald thinking through the implications. If he said I was still employed, he'd be contradicting Howard's termination and creating internal political problems. If he said I was terminated, he'd be admitting that Secure Core had just eliminated their crisis response capability in the middle of their most expensive emergency. Back in my day, a company's word meant something. If you said someone was fired, they were fired. If you said they weren't fired, they weren't fired. But this was the new corporate world, where decisions got made by people who didn't understand the consequences, and then everyone scrambled to figure out how to undo the damage. "Carl, let me conference in Howard so we can resolve this together. I'd rather you didn't." Howard was clear about his decision. "I'm respecting that decision by no longer working on Secure Core projects. If the banks need assistance, they should contact Secure Core's emergency response line and request another engineer. There is no other engineer available who understands these legacy COBOL systems. That's an unfortunate situation, but it's not my problem anymore since I'm no longer a Secure Core employee." I ended the call. Patricia was standing nearby, having heard my side of the conversation. The weight of the situation was settling on her shoulders like a lead blanket. At my age, I'd seen this look before. The moment when someone in management realizes they're completely dependent on something they don't understand and can't control. "What should we do, Mr. Rodriguez?" "You should contact Secure Core and request emergency engineering support. Explain the urgency of the situation. They'll prioritize getting someone here as quickly as possible. But you're here now. You understand our systems. You were in the middle of fixing the vulnerability. Can't you just complete the work?" I thought about that carefully. In the old days, you'd finish the job regardless of company politics because it was the right thing to do. But I'd learned something important over 24 years in corporate America. Loyalty has to go both ways. I'd given Secure Core my best years, missed family events, worked holidays, and built their reputation one crisis at a time. The moment it became convenient, they threw me away like a broken piece of equipment. I was fired 74 minutes ago. I can't ethically continue working on a project for a company that just terminated my employment. What if we hired you directly, not through SecureCore, but as an independent consultant working for Manhattan Trust? Now that was interesting. I'd never considered going independent, but at 49, maybe it was time to think about options beyond the corporate ladder. My wife Maria had been telling me for years that I was too valuable to let one company control my future. She'd grown up watching her father work 30 years for a steel company only to get laid off 6 months before retirement. "Nobody looks out for you except you," she'd always said. That would create contractual complications. Your banks have security agreements with SecureCore. Those agreements probably have exclusivity provisions preventing you from hiring outside consultants to work on SecureCore design systems. I'll check our contracts. She called Manhattan Trust's legal department, had a quick conversation that involved a lot of technical terms and urgent whispers, then looked at me with cautious optimism. "Our legal team says the security agreement has exclusivity provisions for routine maintenance, but emergency patches can be conducted by any qualified consultant if SecureCore cannot provide timely support. They're defining timely support as within 24 hours of request." That was the opening I needed. Not just to solve this immediate crisis, but to test whether there was a future beyond SecureCore. At 49, I was too old to start over at another company, but maybe not too old to start working for myself. Have the banks formally requested emergency support from SecureCore? She sent an email to SecureCore's emergency response team, copying me, formally requesting immediate engineering support for the banking security breach and noting that the previous engineer, me, was no longer available to complete the patchwork. She marked it urgent and requested response within 4 hours. At 2:15 a.m., we received a response from SecureCore's emergency coordinator that told us everything we needed to know about how this was going to play out. "We acknowledge your request for emergency engineering support. Our senior security architects are currently committed to other client emergencies. We are working to identify available resources and will provide an estimated response timeline within 12 hours. 12 hours. In corporate speak, that meant they had no idea how to solve this problem without me, but they weren't ready to admit it yet. Gerald was probably spending his Saturday morning calling every contractor and consultant he could find, trying to locate someone who understood COBOL banking protocols well enough to not make the crisis worse. Patricia showed me the email with the kind of desperate expression you see on people who are watching their career go down in flames through no fault of their own. What does this mean? It means SecureCore doesn't have anyone available to send. Alan is in Denver, and apparently nobody else at SecureCore has the expertise to handle COBOL banking vulnerabilities. So we wait, unless you want to exercise your contract provision and hire an independent consultant. Are you available as an independent consultant? This was the moment. At 49, after 24 years of corporate life, I was being offered the chance to work for myself, to set my own rates, choose my own projects, and never again have to worry about some middle manager deciding my expertise was too expensive. Maria had been right. This wasn't a crisis, it was an opportunity. I could be. What would your rate structure look like? I thought about that carefully. Independent consulting rates for emergency cybersecurity work typically range from $200 to $600 per hour depending on expertise level and urgency. I was at the top of the expertise scale, and this was definitely urgent. But more than that, I was the only person available who could solve this problem. That kind of scarcity has value. $400 per hour for emergency security work, minimum 20-hour engagement to ensure complete vulnerability patching and system validation. That's $8,000 total. Payment terms: 50% deposit before I resume work, remaining 50% upon successful system restoration. Patricia didn't even blink. When your bank is losing $25,000 per hour and faces federal penalties that could reach millions, $8,000 for a solution starts looking like a bargain. Done. I'll have our CFO process the deposit immediately. At 3:30 a.m. Saturday morning, my phone chimed with a bank transfer notification. $4,000 had just cleared into my personal checking account, more money than I'd ever received for a single day's work in my entire career. At 3:45 a.m., I resumed work on the COBOL security patches, but now I was working for myself. The funny thing about doing the same work as an independent consultant instead of a corporate employee is how different it feels. Every line of code I wrote was billable. Every problem I solved was building my reputation instead of someone else's company. Every decision was mine to make. For the first time in 24 years, I wasn't just fixing someone else's crisis. I was building my own future. By 11 a.m. Saturday, I'd completed the vulnerability fixes across all 3 banking systems. The work went faster than I'd expected because I wasn't dealing with corporate approval processes or having to document every decision for managers who wouldn't understand the technical details anyway. By 2 p.m., I'd updated the security protocols and conducted full system testing. By 4 p.m., all 3 banks were back online with no security vulnerabilities and no transaction processing errors. Total lockdown time, 34 hours. Total losses, approximately $2.55 million. But the systems were secure, and the patches I'd implemented would prevent similar COBOL-based attacks in the future. More importantly, I'd just proven to myself that I didn't need Secure Core. They needed me. Patricia was watching the transaction monitors with visible relief as wire transfers began processing normally again. The green lights were beautiful, each one representing thousands of transactions that had been frozen for over a day, finally flowing through the system like they were supposed to. Mr. Rodriguez, I cannot thank you enough. You saved us from a disaster that would have been catastrophically worse if we'd waited for Secure Core to send another engineer. You're welcome. I'll prepare a technical report documenting the vulnerability, attack methodology, and patch procedures. You should share that with Secure Core so they can update their security documentation. At 9:30 p.m. Saturday night, I received a call from Gerald Thompson. I was back at my apartment in Jersey, exhausted but satisfied with the weekend's work. More than satisfied, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pride in work that was entirely mine. Carl, I understand you completed the banking security work as an independent consultant. We need to discuss your employment status. Howard's decision to terminate you was premature. We'd like to offer you reinstatement with full back pay and benefits. I appreciate that, but I'm declining. I'm now operating as an independent consultant. It's more lucrative, and I have better control over which projects I accept. What does that mean for Secure Core? You're our most experienced legacy systems expert. It means Secure Core will need to develop other engineers with similar expertise, or accept that your crisis response capability is significantly reduced. The truth was, at 49, I'd finally learned what my father never had the chance to. He worked 32 years for the same manufacturing company, believing that loyalty and hard work would guarantee security. When the company got bought out, they eliminated his pension and laid him off at 58. He spent his last 7 working years bouncing between temporary jobs, never again finding the security he'd thought he'd earned. I wasn't going to make his mistake. That's not acceptable. We have ongoing client emergencies that require your specific knowledge. Then Secure Core should have considered that before terminating me while I was literally in the middle of managing one of those emergencies. Carl, I understand you're upset about how Howard handled the situation. I'm not upset, Gerald. I'm simply making rational business decisions based on new information. Howard demonstrated that Secure Core doesn't value my contributions enough to avoid terminating me during a crisis. I've learned from that demonstration. When I told Maria what had happened, she just smiled and poured herself a glass of wine. Finally, she said, I was wondering how long it would take you to figure out what I've been telling you for 15 years. Which is what? That you were too good for them. That you were making other people rich off your expertise while worrying about whether they'd keep you around. Now you get to make yourself rich. She was right, as usual. Over the next 4 weeks, I received 12 emergency calls from banks and financial institutions experiencing security crises. Each call followed the same pattern. Sophisticated attack on legacy systems. Secure Core couldn't respond quickly enough. Could I help as an independent consultant? I helped all 12 clients. Total consulting revenue, $156,000 for 4 weeks of work. That was more than I'd made in the previous 18 months at Secure Core. Word spreads fast in the financial security industry. By August, I was receiving calls from institutions that had never worked with Secure Core, asking if I was available for security audits and ongoing vulnerability consulting. These weren't emergency calls. They were banks that wanted to prevent emergencies by having someone who understood their legacy systems before problems occurred. By October, I had 6 long-term consulting contracts with banks who wanted guaranteed access to my COBOL expertise when they needed it. Combined retainer revenue, $18,000 monthly, approximately $216,000 annually, plus additional project fees. In December, SecureCore formally offered me the consulting arrangement I'd proposed to Gerald: $400 per hour for active security work, $3,000 monthly retainer for availability and consultation. 6-month contract, renewable at my discretion. I accepted because it was guaranteed revenue, and SecureCore represented one of the most reliable sources of emergency work. Howard Bennett lasted until February. The board terminated him after they calculated that his decision to fire me during the Manhattan crisis had cost SecureCore approximately $890,000 in lost client contracts, emergency recovery costs, and consulting fees they were now paying me instead of employing me directly. The irony wasn't lost on me. They were now paying me more in 6 months than they'd paid me in 3 years as an employee. I stayed independent. By late 2024, I was managing 9 long-term consulting relationships with financial institutions across the Northeast. Annual revenue was approaching $800,000. I was working approximately 50% of the hours I'd worked at SecureCore while earning nearly 5 times my previous salary. More importantly, I was valued. When clients called me for security crises, they understood they were paying premium rates for premium expertise. Nobody questioned whether my approach was worth the investment. They'd all seen what happened when they tried to solve legacy system vulnerabilities without specialized knowledge. But the real change wasn't financial. It was psychological. For the first time in my career, I wasn't worried about layoffs, corporate restructuring, or some new manager deciding I was too expensive. My security came from my expertise, not from someone else's decision about whether to keep me around. Maria and I started talking about things we'd never been able to plan before. Maybe retiring to that cabin in Vermont we'd always dreamed about. Maybe taking that trip to Spain we'd been putting off for 20 years. Maybe helping our daughter Sarah with a down payment on her first house instead of worrying about whether we'd have enough saved for our own retirement. At 49, I thought my career was winding down. Instead, it was just getting started. Here's what I learned from the entire experience, and what I wish I'd understood 20 years earlier. The most dangerous employee to fire isn't the one who complains about salary or threatens to quit. It's the one who's literally in the middle of solving a crisis that nobody else knows how to solve when you decide they're expendable. Because when you fire that person, you don't just lose their future contributions. You lose their ability to prevent the immediate disaster that's happening right now. And you discover that replacing specialized expertise during an emergency is impossible. Howard wanted to reduce headcount and eliminate what he saw as an expensive senior engineer. He got exactly what he wanted. I was eliminated, but my expertise wasn't eliminated. It just got a lot more expensive. In my generation, we were taught that companies would take care of us if we were loyal and worked hard. That was true once, maybe, but it's not true anymore. These days, you have to take care of yourself. The security you build through your own skills and reputation is the only security that nobody can take away from you. The best part? I'm not angry anymore. How can you be angry when someone's mistake turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to your career? Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong, it's letting them experience the full cost of being right about what they wanted. Howard wanted me gone. I was gone. Then he got to explain to his executives why the company's most critical client crisis was costing an additional $600,000 per day, because the engineer who could fix it was no longer employed. I didn't sabotage SecureCore. I didn't cause the Manhattan crisis. I didn't prevent other engineers from solving the problem. I simply wasn't there anymore to solve problems that only I knew how to solve because I was no longer required. That turned out to be the most expensive termination decision Howard Bennett ever made, and the most lucrative career transition I ever experienced. At 49, I finally learned what my father never had the chance to figure out. Your value isn't determined by what one company is willing to pay you. It's determined by what the market will pay for what you know how to do. And sometimes the market values that knowledge a lot more than your employer ever did. In the end, I realized that getting fired wasn't my professional death sentence. It was my liberation from thinking small about what my expertise was worth.